Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wa sallallahu ala rasulillah. Abu Aqiq again, back on the campus of Amherst College. MashaAllah, very nice here in the summertime. Very quiet and very, very verdant, very green, subhanallah. I used to stay here during the summer, so most of the kids, they would just leave. They would jet as soon as their last final was over or they passed in their last paper. But I stuck around, and it was again, I was saying earlier that MashaAllah, when I was here, I was just like a kid from Springfield. I mean, Springfield, if you know, is like kind of pretty much a dead end, small city. It's about 30 miles south of here. It's a world removed from this place. MashaAllah, world removed. And I really, by the time even before I was on track to come to Amherst, I was really, really fed up with it. I mean, just in terms of, I guess, like smallness of mind. I was saying that, like, here in the Happy Valley, you meet a lot of open-minded people. Religiously, there's some problematic connotations with that, and that phrase is overused in general. But here you meet a lot of people from lots of different backgrounds. Actually, I took a break, and I asked a woman to take some pictures of me by Memorial Hill, and she was from Singapore. So that's typical. I mean, not just in terms of international students, but people from all over. One of the guys I befriended my first year here, he was from Alaska. So I met a lot of people from different places, and again, Amherst it's a top-tiered school. I mean, not trying to brag or put it out there. I didn't come from that background or come here by that route. So you meet a lot of intelligent people. They think they're very, very well read, and they're ambitious. So it's a different type of environment from living in Springfield, MashaAllah. And I really had a chance to do a lot of growing here, a lot of growing. And alhamdulillah, again, I had the fortunate, a fortunate encounter with some brothers of traditional knowledge. It happened, I guess they're working on it, so that's why it's cordoned off. I was on the bus actually here in Amherst, and I sat on it. Some guys were towards the back of the bus. I sat in front of them, and I heard them talking about I heard them talking about Islam. And at that point, actually, I was calling myself a Muslim, although I knew I was very confused. And I was like taking a course here on quote unquote Muhammad in the Quran, I think was the title, and it's from an Orientalist perspective, even though the guy that was teaching it was from a Muslim family, that it wasn't from the way Muslims learn about the religion traditionally. So I'm taking that course, and that's adding, compounding confusion to confusion, and I knew I was very jacked up. And I'm reading, and I had, as I was saying in one of the previous videos, that I still had this like strong black nationalist tendency. I mean, I was a black nationalist at that time. I wasn't anything other than that, hardcore black nationalist. And so I had all this stuff, this gunk in my head, and I'm trying to sift through it. And I met these guys, and the brothers that I still, till today, I study with, MashaAllah. I'll put this in as a side note, that it was 25 years ago. It was after I finished college, and then I did a year here, a year just in the town. And I say here, meaning in the town of Amherst. And it was that summer, 25 years ago, I met the sheikh that I'm at the camp. I mean, I'm not in Pennsylvania now, but inshallah I'll be back tomorrow. That I met the sheikh that it was his first trip to America, and sat in his lessons, and Allahu Akbar. Yeah, I was still very confused. But I knew that these brothers, they had something that these other people didn't have in terms of how they talked about the issues of belief, the issues of Aqidah. And I remember one of the brothers saying to me very early on, maybe I went to their house, I went to their apartment, like I met them on the bus. I guess they gave me their phone numbers. I didn't have a phone at that time. There weren't cell phones, and I didn't have a phone in my dorm. And so I went to their apartment. There were several of the brothers that were living together at the time, mashallah, a long time ago. One of them, say this and make dua for him, was Hajj Amin. Hajj Amin, he passed away. He was living in Philadelphia, and he passed away, rahimahullah, rahimahullah. He passed away about 6 months ago. May Allah Ta'ala have mercy on him. He was one of the brothers who kept me kind of close. I mean, I was still, like I said, I was jacked up. I was really confused. But I went to that summer, the summer before. The summer before I met Sheikh Samir, who was the sheikh that I learned from, and other people I learned from, other sheikhs. That he and I, we went to Montreal. MashaAllah. It's the first and only trip I ever made to Canada so far. Inshallah, maybe I'll visit Canada soon. But going back, that summer, the following summer, I met the sheikh that I'm learning from, and like I said, he's actually conducting the seminar right now. And mashallah, that was really, it was a shift. I mean, I was shifting. I wasn't clear. I still was confused about a lot of matters, but I was shifting, alhamdulillah. And then after that, that camp, actually, a few months later, late summer, I moved to Philadelphia, and I spent most of the 90s in Philadelphia. Now down the street is Emily Dickinson's place. Maybe it's not that one. Maybe it's behind those, let's see, those trees there. Maybe it's there, but it's really hot actually here. Hot, I don't mean hot like it's a little bit warmer than you would prefer it. It's hot like Memphis hot today. We're in the middle, meaning here, in the middle of a heat wave. So I think the high today is like mid-90s, and it's humid. Even though we're up a little bit in some hills, I mean, we're not like down in the lowlands. It's still very humid here, and that's how it is. Usually in the summer, you get maybe 1 week hot wave, 90s, and then another week hot wave, 90s. Not like Memphis, where basically from the last week or so of May until the second week of September, it's in the 90s or higher. So alhamdulillah, here you get a lot of breaks. I saw the weather report was saying 80s later in the week, and that's how it is. Now this here is the Drew house. This was like we call it the black dorm. So this was, because Charles Drew was one of the graduates from Amherst. And Amherst was for a while considered the first college in America to graduate an African American. Actually, and this is like 1823, if I remember correctly. But it turned out, I think Middlebury, which is another one of these little New England liberal arts colleges, Middlebury said that they had a graduate from 1821, if I got my dates right, but it's in that decade, mashallah. So it's like a couple of years earlier, Middlebury, took the cake. But again, there were a lot of interesting black men that came through here. The last time I was here, I visited a sister, and she had a book that's published called The Black Men of Amherst. And at one time, Amherst only had men up until 1970 something. It was exclusively male college. When I was, anyway, there were a lot of very high-profile black folks came out of Amherst. Charles Drew, I think, is the most famous among them. Yeah, I think so. The names slipped my mind right now, subhanAllah. But Washington, D.C., Dunbar High School back in the day used to be like an elite high school. And Dunbar High School in Washington, it had I don't know, an agreement, I don't know if it was a tacit agreement or an open agreement, that they would, that the top students from Dunbar, the top student, he would come to Amherst College. And Amherst was one of the few, I guess you could say for a long time, one of the few colleges that openly accepted and / recruited African American students. So mashallah, it's a very interesting history here. I just saw the light go on, so let me turn on, knock on the door, see if I can get in, inshallah. Oh no, probably what it is like during the summer, they have different groups here who attend, kind of like summer camp. Summer camp for the rich, super rich maybe. So, mashallah. Not always, some of them are academic camps. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna knock on the door and see if I can take a few pictures from the inside. Okay, this is again Barakah Quest. This is Abu Aqiq in the town of Amherst.